And now, from 12 Studios, this is News 12 Now.
Welcome to News 12 Now for this Wednesday, February 5th. I'm Robin Key. The president of one of Oklahoma's largest universities has resigned. Oklahoma State University's president, Dr. KXII, is leaving after about 4 years in the role. OSU has set multiple enrollment records under Dr. Shuram. There's no word on why she's leaving. Several items that were stolen from the Gunter's athletic office this weekend have been found. Head football coach Jake Fahey told News 12 that 5 state championship rings and a Lone Star championship ring were stolen in a burglary on Sunday. The district said a suspect was apprehended and most of the items have been recovered thanks to the Gunter ISD police chief and other law enforcement agencies. Healdon Public Schools has been added to the list of Texoma school districts going online due to an overwhelming number of illnesses. Superintendent Terry Shaw says classes will be virtual tomorrow and students will return on Monday. The Grayson County Jail expansion is well on its way, and since breaking ground last December, construction crews found a unique discovery. According to Judge Bruce Dawsey, workers hit a concrete structure and found the roof of an old building from the 1950s. And after some extra digging, literally, they discovered the old basement of an office building. Dawsey says it's presumed to be an old oil company and will not hinder the progress of the jail expansion.
How interesting.
Yeah, well, happy National Weathersperson Day, Brady.
Thank you so much, Robin. It's nice to be celebrating with my first show with you on News 12 Now. What a treat.
And the weather seems to be cooperating with you for today.
A little bit better than yesterday. It was a little uncooperative yesterday, but today it's trying to get back sorted. Let's take a look outside if you can, because it is pretty low visibility out there. We got a lot of saturation, so our TMC tower cam is looking a little foggy out there, and the visibility map currently is looking like we're having low visibility from here all the way up to Ada. I'm gonna have to go take a look at our Ada tower cam in just a moment. But so limited visibility, relative humidity, saturated in many parts, Tishomingo, Medill, and Bonham. So definitely expected to see that low visibility, and temperatures are a little uneven. You might notice that 61 out in Paris, and then of course the 46 up in Ada, because we're kind of caught between yesterday's cold front and then today's warm front pushing back in. So the temperatures are going to stay a little uneven throughout the day. Wind speeds out of the south instead of the north, so we're already recovered on that front, but we're not seeing the very fast wind speeds out the south. No wind gusts yet. But as far as the day planner, we are looking at foggy conditions and temperatures increasing, but that's ahead of another cold front, actually 2 cold fronts, which I'll talk about more when I return.
A man is facing felony charges after being accused of going on a crime spree down in the Sherman Town Center this past weekend. News 12's Talia Munson explains how the wild incident played out.
26-year-old Danny Childers is in the Grayson County Jail after a wild Sunday afternoon at Sherman Town Center. Sherman police got a call.
An intoxicated male at a business in a 3800 block of North Highway 75.
A few minutes later, the general manager of Texoma Harley-Davidson got a call for a different reason.
Somebody was trying to break into one of our vehicles.
Sherman police say Childers ended up here after stealing a vehicle from a nearby business.
There was 2 different vehicles involved in it. There was a white SUV, and then he stole a black car from Chuck E. Cheese's.
Security footage appears to show Childers making several attempts to break in, eventually using a hammer to shatter the glass for entry. That's when the alarm went off, and Enloe was on his way. He says when he got there, Childers was at a food truck parked in the back of the building, trying to steal cash from the truck's owners.
So we apprehended the guy and got him on the ground and held him on the ground until the police showed up, and they just put the cuffs on him and took him to jail.
The shattered door isn't the only thing that needs to be repaired. Texoma Harley-Davidson is looking at about $20,000 worth of damages.
He stole jacket, jewelry, some clothing, knocked over our sunglass case and broke it, and tore up some other stuff on his way out. He tore a mirror off of another bike and scratched a couple other bikes when he was trying to get through here.
Childers is charged with burglary, theft, and evading arrest. In Sherman, Talia Munson, News 12.
A sentence finally handed down in a fatal fentanyl case. Federal prosecutors say 28-year-old Courtney Green of Denton supplied the drugs that led to the deadly overdose at a Salina home 2 years ago. Green pled guilty and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. A bipartisan group of senators is aiming to tackle the deadly fentanyl crisis. Fox News chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel explains the push for stricter legislation.
More than 150 people die every day in the U.S. from overdoses related to synthetic opioids like fentanyl. That's why the Senate Judiciary Committee is considering legislation that would permanently reclassify fentanyl-related substances as a Schedule I drug. It would allow for tougher penalties and remove barriers for research.
We need you to stand with us and enact these pieces of legislation so that our country's kids have a fighting chance and stop losing their lives.
On Tuesday, parents who lost children to fentanyl poisoning made an urgent plea to Congress to stop the crisis. Republicans say China and weak border policies under the Biden administration are to blame.
It's time to make this temporary scheduling permanent, so that the drug cartels do not have the opportunity to flood our country with even deadlier versions of fentanyl.
It is part of the reason why President Trump's tariffs against Beijing took effect today. But experts say finding a solution is more complex.
The pill presses, it's not doing any one thing, it's doing 12 things simultaneously.
And Democrats argue the Trump administration's recent policies could further fuel the crisis.
I'm also gravely concerned about the negative impact of mass removals of senior career law enforcement at Department of Justice and FBI on it and our ability to hold traffickers accountable.
The president is delaying tariffs on Mexico and Canada after both countries agreed to do more to stop the flow of drugs and migrants. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
The U.S. ban on parcels from China and Hong Kong did not last long. Less than 24 hours after implementing the ban, the U.S. Postal Service says it will resume accepting all inbound mail from China and Hong Kong. The back and forth is linked to a trade fight between the China and U.S. countries. People in Hong Kong have spoken out about how they disagree with being caught up in U.S.-China politics.
They're imposing the duties and the other thing like it's a kind of political war, which is affecting the local people, not just in Hong Kong, but in other places too.
President Trump believes that packages from China are one of the ways that fentanyl gets into the U.S., and China's believed refusal to stop it is one of the reasons he claims for the 10% tariffs against them. 1,000 soldiers from the Mexican National Guard have arrived near the Texas border. This deployment is part of the agreement between Mexico and the United States. If Mexico mobilizes 10,000 Mexican soldiers at the northern border, the U.S. will suspend the new tariffs on Mexican exports. Donald Trump's new proposal regarding the future of Gaza is being met with major pushback. In a news conference yesterday, Trump proposed the United States take ownership of the territory and relocate roughly 2 million Palestinians. Natalie Brand has the latest from the White House.
Amid the devastation in Gaza, Palestinians dismissed President Trump's plan to take over the war-torn territory. This man says we are staying to our last breath. President Trump's comments came during a joint news conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, saying Gaza could be a Riviera of the Middle East.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area.
President Trump has suggested Egypt and Jordan take in the roughly 2 million Palestinians who would be displaced, a proposal both nations rejected. And there's new opposition to the president's latest proposal.
It's not seen as serious.
Brian Koutoulas of the Middle East Institute recently returned from the region.
It's not an actual plan to actually resolve these issues. And if anything, it'll make America less relevant in the reshaping of the region that's already going on.
President Trump's national security advisor Mike Waltz said other realistic solutions haven't been offered.
He puts some very bold, fresh, new ideas out on the table, I don't think should be criticized in any way. I think it's going to bring the entire region to come with their own solutions if they don't like Mr. Trump's solutions.
The comments come at a delicate time while negotiations are underway to implement the second phase of the hostage release ceasefire deal with Hamas. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Thank you for watching today's News 12 Now. Make sure to subscribe so you find out why Texoma turns to us. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where you'll see more social media exclusive content. Want more News 12 Now? Watch us live every weekday through the KXII app on your phone or TV and through our website.